All right. Hi, everybody. Part two on our Notebook LM series here. So, what I'm going to try and cover, I think, in this one is how do I add sources? And once I've added those sources, how can I change the name of my notebook and the tag of my notebook and things like that? All right. So, let's get started. I'm on the main landing page of Notebook LM. I've gone to just log in with Google, etc., just to refresh your memory on that. And I am going to create a new notebook. I try creating a notebook for every unit that I do in US history, and I don't have one for Unit 7, which I'm in the throes of right now. So let's get it started, right? The first thing it's going to want me to do is it's going to want me to add sources. And as I mentioned in the first video, this is the true strength of Notebook LM because I am going to come down here to my Google workspace to start. I will also link in some YouTube videos at some point, maybe even a website so I can use external sources, but I want to use my stuff, right? So I'm going to go to my Google Drive. And it's actually already prompted me to where I want to be. That's kind of awesome. But if I needed to, I think it usually defaults to recent actually. So what did I use recently? But I can go to my drive. I can go through, using my little breadcrumbs here. I can get to the area of my drive that I want to be in and so on. Now, I tend to upload my sources by lesson when I'm building a notebook from scratch. So I just take it a little bit at a time, and then I've sort of built up that whole unit just because it makes it move a little bit. Trying to upload a whole bunch of sources at one time can be a lot. So let's start off with my first lesson. The first lesson in my Gilded Age unit is about immigration in the United States in the Gilded Age. So I want to take anything that is a 7.1 source. That's how I organize my materials. You do you, of course. But so I've got the presentation I used that day. I've got a reading material source that they use with their discussion questions. This is the answer key to that activity. I put answer keys in there regularly. I'm going to go ahead and put my unit Edpuzzle key and my unit packet in there as well, so it can build off of those. And then I'm getting into the transformation of the West, and I'm going to go ahead and insert those. All right. So it's got to do a little bit of work here. As it is uploading those sources, once it's got all of them built into there, this chat space will start to fill up with a short executive summary. Now, this is one of the limitations of doing it section by section, is that executive summary is just going to be based on my first lesson. It should evolve over time as I add in more sources though. So this is a work in progress. This is not my finished product. Okay. Awesome. Actually, I'm just glancing at the bolded text here. That's a really good executive summary of what we did. So I've added sources. Now, I don't think my kids watched a video on this one. So I'll show you in a later video how I might add a YouTube video, but it's super easy. I go to add sources, and here is where maybe I'm adding a link to a URL. All right. Let's get out of here. And I'm assuming I need to... X out of that. There we go. Okay. Now, wrap this up by controlling, let's wrap this up by controlling, it named it and it gave it an emoji. I'm going to change both of those. All right. So I don't need this whole thing. This is just the Gilded Age. And I always like to put what unit this is in our course of study. That's enough for me. Unit 7, the Gilded Age is, in fact, I just call it the Gilded Age. All right. And US flag is not what I'm hoping for there. Sorry, waving to Jackie. But let me think. I kind of want to use, okay, not those trains. Let's go. Is there a better train in here? Sorry, these kind of things shouldn't take that long, right? What might they call it? There, that guy. That's the guy I want. All right, for the Gilded Age. I think that's kind of it for now. Of course, now what we would want to do is chat and create resources in the studio, but let's cover that in another video so this doesn't get too unwieldy. All right, thanks.